My plan my whole life was to get drafted out of high school to go play baseball. And if I had like all my prayers answered, I'd be playing for the Texas Rangers right now. And then it's just, like I said, God's plans were better than mine. You saw, we just saw the cover of the book. It was the little engine that could. And so we're all kind of looking around. It's like 20-year-old guys in this team meeting. We're like, there's no way he's about to read us this little like kid book. I just care so much about like this season and winning, the group of guys we have in that locker room, the school, everything. It was kind of this thing in the locker room where we were just like, man, we're so close. Like once we get that first win, we're just gonna start rolling. And that's exactly what happened. Nothing's guaranteed, but this is the last like guaranteed, I guess you could say, time I'll get to play, because you don't know what the future holds. And so just taking advantage of that and making the most of the opportunity while you still have it.
Sawyer Robertson, appreciate you joining me, man. Excited to talk to you. We sat down for a little bit. I didn't have much time though at what was that, college football national championship?
At the athletes organization thing. Yeah, it was good. Thank you for having me. Thank you for talking to me when we did and out there in Atlanta. That was fun.
Yeah, but I wanted to bring you on now because I wanted to have a little bit more extensive conversation. The season's about to start. I feel like your stardom has continued to rise in college football. Everyone's excited about this coming season at Baylor for you and what you did last year. I want to start with this. Let's go back to, I think it was game 3 last year when you took over as the starter, right? What was going through your mind as you stepped in and found out the job was going to be yours?
It was a combination of things, man. As a quarterback, you want to be that guy, that leadership position, all the stuff, but you also don't want to press. And so I knew I was coming into a role where, obviously not everybody gets that opportunity. And so I wanted to make the most of it. But at the same time, kind of let the game come to me, not overthink anything, not work too hard. I feel like I did a good job of that. And so that was key in kind of my mindset going into the starting position, especially there in game 3, because I wasn't named the starter at the beginning of the season. And so, it was really good. I couldn't have imagined it going any better.
Yeah, when you look back at those first couple of games, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad of it, how did those experiences kind of set the tone for the rest of the season for you?
Yeah, I think with every game, and I'm sure you can attest to this, any player that's ever played ball can attest to this, the more reps you get, the more comfortable and the more it slows down a little bit. And so that was the case for me for sure, I would say. With each start, like you were saying, with each win, loss, touchdown, interception, whatever it was, I felt like I just learned more and more, became a student of the game, and applied that the next time I got that opportunity or the next rep I got. And so just working on that and kind of, like I said earlier, letting the game come to me and not trying to press or do anything too much. I just grew so much from when I first started against Air Force versus the last game of the season against LSU.
That game you had against was it Texas Tech? Was your the big game?
Yeah,
I think you had big statement win, 5 touchdowns. Yeah. Was that kind of the moment where you felt like I'm built for this?
Yeah, I would say for sure. So before that, we had lost the 3 straight Big 12 games. Obviously some they were crazy games. One was the Hail Mary with Colorado. The other one. So then the very next week we played BYU, and they go up 21-0 in the first 5 minutes of the game, and we ended up coming back and losing by 6. And so throughout the whole time, it was kind of this thing in the locker room where we were just like, man, we're so close. Like once we get that first win, we're just going to start rolling. And that's exactly what happened versus Texas Tech. We kind of, for the first time that season, put it together on all 3 sides of the ball: offense, defense, and special teams. Scored 60 points, obviously held them. We held them to 20-something points, and they were the number 1 scoring offense in the Big 12. And so after that, it was kind of like, all right, here we go. And I think it showed because we didn't lose another game until the bowl game against LSU.
Yeah, and you played a big chunk of the season injured and battling through some different things, right? And still kept producing. What was that process like? And ultimately, what do you feel like kind of drove you through that pain?
I think I forgot who I was listening to explain it, but at the end of the day, if you're out there playing football, nobody's 100%. You're going to have something going on, whether it's depending on the position, like a jammed finger, turf toe, I don't know, some kind of some kind of muscle, hernic, strain, whatever it is. Like nobody is really 100%, right? And so for me, it was a combination of things, just getting banged up here and there. Hurt my shoulder at some point in the season, hurt my foot like halfway through the season. But at the end of the day, like as a competitor, you want to be the guy that goes out there and you want to be the guy that your team relies on to go get the job done. And so that's just kind of what I tried to do. And, I'm going to do that until like a doctor or the training staff tells me like, hey, like you can't do it. And thankfully, with in today's day and age, with all the modern technology and medicines and all the stuff we have, like I was able to still play through that pain. But it's no different than what you did or what any other college athlete does.
I want to ask about just your recruiting process, because I think about your career and you're from Lubbock, Texas, and ended up going to Mississippi State. First of all, how did Texas Tech actually let you out of their backyard? Is the biggest question. I'm still not sure how that happened. You got to give me the story.
Well, so there was a combination of things that went into it. One, I thought I was going to be a baseball player my whole life, and so even in high school, like I was so hyper focused on that. My dad was a really good baseball player, got drafted in the first round out of high school. So I wanted to fill those shoes, right? Like that's what I wanted to do. And so football was kind of like obviously I cared about football, but not as much as I did baseball. And so I ended up getting more attention for football than I did baseball. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe I have a future in football. It's just the attention I did get in football. One of those schools was not Texas Tech. Now they also got their guy. Pretty early, and it's Morton, and he's done an outstanding job there. Obviously, he's played a lot of ball there. I actually got to know him pretty well at the Manning Passing Academy and then at Big 12 Media Days.
Oh, cool.
Great dude, and he's done great there. But whole family are Red Raiders, so I'm kind of the black sheep in the family right now. But that's all right, man. God's plan is obviously better than mine. I couldn't be more thankful to be at Baylor. And I also got to go play for my childhood hero and Mike Leach over at Mississippi State for a couple years too. And so I couldn't be more thankful for how it worked out.
That's so cool. What's Coach Leach like? What was he like? Are the stories true? Is he as big of a legend as I've heard?
Dude, how much time do you have for me to sit here and tell you Leach stories? Yes, he was incredible. All the stuff you see on like the interviews and cameras, like all that stuff was genuinely who he is. Just, brought a joy, brought like a calmness, poise, everything to it. Helped me out so much. Just like whenever I'd be struggling or something, as an 18-year-old kid moving 15 hours away from home, football wasn't going how I thought it would go. He'd pull me in his office, kind of just like encourage me, tell me like, you're here for a reason. You're one of the best. Like, that's why I recruited you, all this stuff. So I couldn't be more thankful for him and his family, just like everything they were for me and giving me a chance coming out of high school. And obviously the legend that he is, I'm going to claim that forever, that I'm a Leach product.
So cool. Yeah. What's the best Mike Leach quote you've ever heard from playing for him?
I'll tell you this story. So unfortunately we played Alabama. Both years I was at Mississippi State, we played them after the week after they lost. One of those years they had lost to A&M, and then the next year they lost to Tennessee. And we were the next team they played. And so Saban had them out for blood. They were ready to roll. One of the years, dude, we they were good, respect to them. We didn't play very well on offense. And it was just one of those things. And so obviously Leach was disappointed after the game and stuff. And he was asking everybody, like, what do you think the problem was? Why did we not perform well? All this and that. And he said everybody, and this is in the team meeting, he said everybody kept saying confidence. Like we weren't confident that we could beat them, all this and that. And so he got all of us in our team meeting the next day and he was like, confidence? How can we not have confidence? He was like, all right, if y'all struggle with confidence, I'll give y'all some confidence. He was like, here, bring me the book. And one of the GAs walks in with, we just saw the cover of the book. It was The Little Engine That Could. And so we're all kind of looking around. It's like 20-year-old guys in this team meeting. We're like, there's no way he's about to read us this little like kid book. He opens the first page and just starts and goes, choo, 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 and reads this from cover to cover, The Little Engine That Could. And he was like, there, now y'all should be some confident guys. So go out and practice. And we went out and practiced.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Wow. What a legend. Yeah. Rest in peace. It's crazy to think about the impact he made on college football in every so many of the big time coaches and quarterbacks, and just the tree is insane.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's really cool kind of keeping tabs on everybody that came from history, whether it was from Tech or Washington State or just wherever he was.
Yeah. Growing up in Lubbock, Texas, is it ever crazy to think, I guess if I would have told you back then when you were the 16-year-old version of yourself that you would be playing as the starter at Baylor right now, would you have thought that was kind of crazy?
Yeah, I would for sure. It was not I guess it wasn't on my bingo card for sure. Like I was saying earlier, my plan my whole life was to get drafted out of high school to go play Baylor or to go play baseball.
Yeah.
And if I had like all my prayers answered, I'd be playing for the Texas Rangers right now. And then it's just like I said, God's plans are better than mine. And I couldn't be more blessed. Just like the people that I've gotten to meet while I've been at Baylor, the school that it is, great education, all the stuff. I mean, I think I could live in Waco the rest of my life. Like, it's just such a cool place. Love the school, love everything about it.
You mentioned the baseball piece a bunch. I actually didn't know that about your journey and how good you were at baseball. I get asked a lot by high school players, high school recruits about playing multiple sports. Do you feel like playing baseball and having that background gave you an advantage when you got to college, or felt like you were more of an athlete because of it?
I do for sure. Like, I'm a big advocate of the multi-sports. And you can get into the different like skills you learn, right? Like if you play outfield, like you'll be able to track a ball better as a receiver, like all that. Or like if you're a lineman who plays basketball, like the footwork and all that stuff that helps with it, you can get into all of that. And I believe in all that, but I just love like the competition part of it, like go out there and compete. And like, there's no, like, even if you specialize in a sport or as a quarterback, like whatever it is, you can still compete in that. But I just love the competition aspect of it, right? Like growing up, I wanted to play with all my friends, my older brother, do what he was doing. And so like parents just signed me up for all the sports. And so like, I just kept doing that throughout high school and wanted to be the best at everything I did. And so I'm a big advocate for playing all the sports just because of a competition based thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Well, when it comes to you as a quarterback, if you were a scout, how would you describe your play? What would be the scouting report on you as a QB?
Yeah, I would say,
because scouts do the good, the bad, the ugly. So you got to do the whole
I know.
thing.
I hate this. I hate this question. I think there's a lot of stuff I need to work on. So the bad and the ugly are probably going to be easier. I think, pocket passer. Like I want to stay in the pocket and throw it. But I also broke off a couple pretty long runs last year. So I'm mobile when I need to be, can scramble, can throw on the run.
Sneaky athletic.
I kind of hate that, dude. I'm not going to lie. I hate the term.
That's the worst phrase.
I hate the term sneaky athletic. Like, why can't I just be regular athletic? Yeah, no. And then, like there's a lot of things that I'd like to work on and clean up as far as just like footwork, pocket presence, even like throws, right? Like I miss some deeper throws that, especially those deep ones, like that's the difference in 6 points and not. And so just cleaning a lot of that stuff up. And then going forward, obviously you want to get the balls in playmakers' hands. And so completing more passes, right? You don't want the ball to hit the turf, but obviously it's going to happen sometimes. But all of those things are things that I'd like to work on and clean up going into this next season.
Yeah. How do you lead differently now than when you first got to Baylor? How have you kind of evolved in that leadership role?
Yeah, I've tried to always be like positive, encouraging guy. And so more vocal, even when I wasn't the starter, because I wanted my teammates, the guys around me, to know that if there was a situation where I did have to play, if the starter got hurt or if just something happened and I had to go in, they could trust me, And so I think a lot of guys really respected that. And then when it did, it ended up happening, right? And so I had to go in and play, and it was almost like nobody missed a beat just because I'd already gotten all those reps at leading them and at being vocal, at being that guy in the locker room and on the field where it's like, hey, I'm going to take over right now. We're going to go score, whether it was like a 7-on-7 period or just a drive in practice. But even then, like you try to like know your place, right? And so when I first got to Baylor, like, I'm not going to try to step on anybody's toes and be obnoxious about anything. Like, there's a respect level to it. For whoever the guy is that is the starter. And so just growing in that, like transitioning from that phase of like, hey, I got to be trustworthy and confident to like, okay, now like I got to be the guy, you know?
Yeah. And one of the cool things about your story and how you got to this point of success at Baylor, like you had to wait your turn at both places, at Mississippi State, at Baylor. You had to be patient and really believe in yourself and kind of be ready for that opportunity. And then when you got the call third game last year, you were ready for that moment. You know, what did that test in you a little bit to have to wait and be patient and kind of trust the process while still preparing like you could be the starter?
It's definitely hard for somebody who is like super competitive. But thankfully I was able to sit behind and learn behind some really, really good quarterbacks. One in Will Rogers, and then in Blake, and then in DQ last year. And then just like trying to pick their brains a little bit about, you know, those are the experienced guys. And so learning under them, seeing what they do, trying to imitate what they do, how they lead, what they're seeing, all the stuff. And thankfully they're great dudes too. I can't say enough good things about them and how they challenged me and pushed me as a quarterback. But then at the end of the day, you know, you'd always go home and it's like, dang, man, like you're not guaranteed anything. So that was the hardest thing is like, man, I'm doing all this work, like all the offseason lifting and running and all the stuff that like is kind of terrible. And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to play. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get my shot. And so that's hard. But at the same time, like the biggest risks are worth are like the best rewards come out of those. And so that's definitely been kind of my story is just obviously had to wait my turn. I'm going into my 5th year. This will be my first year as a full-time starter, you know? And so like I said, it all works out. Everybody's story is different. You know, there are some guys who step in as an 18-year-old freshman and they're just ready to go. You know, that wasn't me at all. You know, I needed the time to develop. And thankfully I'm at a point now to where I can go out there and lead the guys and be the quarterback for the team.
Yeah. 5th year, man. You become an old head pretty fast.
I know, man. My body's starting to feel it too. Like I got to stretch a little longer before those lifts and workouts.
I love it. What's a conversation you've had with Coach Aranda that's really stuck with you during your time at Baylor?
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Aranda's really good about, you know, like help, because as a defensive minded guy, you know, it's easy for me to sit here and complain. Like we'll put in a really cool new screen and then the first time we run it, it just gets blown up and you're like, how did that happen? You know, with defensive.
You saw the script.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. But Aranda really has been really, really good for me, just in the developmental side as a quarterback. The looks I get to see in practice are very challenging. They've made me better. And then on the conversation side, you know, he's really good. Like we have like our player one-on-one meetings where he has us answer a list of questions. And so I'm able to sit down with him. And I'll never forget one of the times, you know, just asking him when he was at LSU, we had a conversation about Joe Burrow, and he was talking about Joe, like when he was doing like a conditioning test, and how Joe Burrow like would go out there and win every single one of the conditioning ones. And that's just kind of the kind of competitor he was. He wanted to win everything. And so just picking his brain on that a little bit, because, you know, obviously he had a lot of success in college. He's having a lot of success right now in the NFL. And so like, those are guys you want to model your game after. And so obviously Aranda's the one who's able to have that conversation with me because he saw it firsthand. And so I'm really appreciative of him for being open about those things and wanting us as players to be excellent and strive for greatness.
Yeah. Take me through game week as the starting quarterback at Baylor. How are you prepping from Sunday until Saturday game day? Real quick, guys, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor on this podcast, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to fire on sports. I've tried all the different apps. sports books, daily fantasy, Prize Picks is the way. On Prize Picks, you're picking players instead of teams. So if you know sports like I do, you can make a bunch of money, especially with the free $50 bonus. So code NEXTUP or the link in my description. All you gotta do is deposit $5. You get a free $50 in your account that you can use, go 10X, 100X, turn it into whatever you want. Code NEXTUP. $50 bonus, link in description. Let's go.
Yeah, so Sunday, like the Sunday after game, we have that day off. I know some places like that'll be their practice day, and then they get Monday off. So we have Sunday off, kind of a chill day. I watched the previous game, get in the training room, get my whatever like scrapes, cuts, banged up a little bit, get all that stuff right. And then Monday is like a walkthrough day. We practice in the morning, which is really nice. So you're able to wake up, and football is like the first thing you do. And so I really like that. And that's where you kind of like make the corrections from the previous game as a team, kind of like get the soreness out too, walk through all the stuff. And then you start on the next opponent. Tuesday is a really long practice. Where you do like, we call it competition Tuesday. That's where we're in full pads. We're doing like the 7-on-7s, 1-on-1s, and then the team periods. And then we obviously introduce the next opponent with the scout looks and all that good stuff. And then I normally, like, depending on my class schedule, I have a lighter class schedule this semester because it's the semester I graduate. And so my classes, I don't have as many classes. And so I'll spend a lot of time like watching film, like watching my stuff. I like to watch I like to watch like games, like play one to like the end of the game. And then like watch certain cut ups that some of the guys will make too. And so that's what I like to do on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we'll work like the third downs. Same kind of practice format though, where it's like a longer practice. And then Thursday is like the red zone day. And with each one of those days, like I'm watching the film on that stuff, right? So like Wednesday is the third down cut up. Thursday is like the red zone cut up, all that stuff. And then Friday is like a walkthrough day, and then Saturday you get ready to go.
I love it. What's the pregame routine like? Are you doing anything like superstitious? Or
I don't have anything super.
You're just ready to roll.
Yeah, I will say I'm a guy like as far as like pregame music. Like I listen to like more mellow stuff that's like will calm me down rather than like want some like beat my head against a door, like that kind of stuff. Like I gotta be like relaxed, poised, ready to go.
It's funny to see the different types of quarterbacks. You know, you get like the ones that are all rah, and then you get the some that like just don't want to talk to anybody, just like kind of sit in the corner and don't say a word. You know, I'm
probably more on game day. I'm probably more in like on that boat. Or like I'll have like a normal conversation, right? Like if we go to breakfast that morning, like just talk about, you know, whatever. If there's a game, if we play at night games, night games where you have to just sit around in the hotel all day and wait. At least you get to watch a little bit of college football, so that's nice. But then, I'm probably more mellow and quiet on game day.
What's a point in your career? I'll say this before I get into that. I talk a lot on this show and in all my content about overcoming adversity. Yeah. You know, we talked about you battling it out, and I've had adversity in my career. And I feel like anyone who's reached your level of success now, starting quarterback at one of the biggest schools in the country, like you faced some adversity in your career at some point. So at some point, something didn't go the way you wanted it to, right? Sure. What's the moment you feel like you faced the most adversity in your career, and how'd you overcome it?
Man, honestly, like a really like a low point in my career was probably when Leach passed away at Mississippi State, because it was like I'd gone out there really to play for him, you know, and so when he passed away, he passed away suddenly, you know, nobody was expecting it. It was like, okay, I'm here in Mississippi, pretty far away from home. Football hasn't gone. I haven't played a meaningful snap yet. And I remember I was in a pretty bad like headspace, just as far as like, I don't know if I was homesick. I wasn't playing well at all. Like even in practice, like the reps I was getting, wasn't playing well, wasn't throwing it well, all the stuff. And then that happens, and it's like, okay, like what am I doing? You know, like I just knew like my whole entire like life was gonna change, because I was like, like my whole reason for coming out here is now gone. You know? And so it was kind of like, all right, like what next and how I overcame that. Honestly, like is my one. I'm very outspoken about my faith. And I think like if you don't have like your identity or your foundation built in your faith, then like this game, this world, like this life is just going to chew you up and spit you out. I mean, like football, baseball, like sports is just like they find unique ways to humble you, right? Whether you're like a big time recruit coming out of high school, go and play, like you might not live up to your expectations, or maybe like you are playing really well and then you get injured. There's just so many different things that can happen. And if that's what your identity's in, I mean, it can be taken away. And so obviously my identity is built in my faith and what Jesus did, because that's something that can't be taken away from me. And so like just trusting God's plan for my life throughout that time, and knowing that wherever he put me or wherever he has me or whatever he has me doing is better than whatever I could imagine. And so trusting that kind of got me through that hard time. And like I said, it led me to Baylor, and now here I am. So.
Yeah, I love the saying, "Football is what I do; it's not who I am."
Exactly.
And I feel like that's, to your point, having faith through all that gets you through some of those tough times, because it doesn't always go the way you want it to.
Yeah, exactly.
What's you talked a little bit about your family. What's a moment or a conversation with your family that you feel like has really helped you throughout your career?
Man, honestly, there's probably not a conversation, but I can say this about my mom and dad. My mom and dad have been to every single one of my games, and
like in life,
I probably don't tell them enough how much I appreciate that. But like, even as a freshman at Mississippi State, they're like without a like I would tell them, like, guys, like I didn't enroll early.
There is no shot I'm getting on the field.
I'm not gonna play. Like there is no chance I have it playing. And my mom and dad would get in that car and they drive 15 hours just about every week to go to the game. Whatever, however long, a 4-hour game. Just because if there so happened to be that like 0.1% chance where everybody got hurt or whatever happened, they weren't gonna miss that. And so I just appreciate them so much for that. And I have an older brother. He's 18 months older than I am. So we grew up like twins. And so I always have him. He's good for me because he'll always humble me anytime I'm feeling good about myself.
You need that.
That older brother instinct just kicks in. And so he'll make a joke about me or just make fun of me or beat me in something. And I'm like, man, I'm not as good as I think I am. But yeah, it's honestly like just more of the actions and what they've done for me that mean so much more than honestly any conversation that I can remember.
Yeah, I feel like one of the coolest parts of the journey is you get to bring those people along with you. Like, and you get to, it's for them, like all those games they went to where you weren't playing to then now be able to go when you're the starting quarterback. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were probably a little more relaxed whenever I wasn't playing. Now they kind of have to like, it's a little more intense for them.
Not taking any sacks. Yeah, no doubt. What's the number one thing you've been working on this offseason that you wanted to really get better at or improve on before you start camp? Camp start next week?
Next week, yeah, pretty crazy, dude. I can't believe it's all already here. But there's actually a couple of things. One, like more on the mental side, one more on the technical side. So on the mental side, just like working on different checks, right? So I got like certain looks last year where I would check into a certain play. I'm going to get those same coverages and same looks this year. And so just not being predictable and working different things with the receivers, working different checks, different signals, all that kind of stuff for the mental side. And then on the technical side, a lot of like lower half stuff. I feel like whenever I get myself into troubles, when like I start like overstriding, all that stuff, kind of get long with my delivery, everything. And so just kind of like shortening my base up, and it shortens everything else up.
What is there a game you got circled on your calendar, the one you're most excited about? That's a bad question. I know you're going to say the first one.
No,
you're going to say the first
one. Except for the first one. I'll give you one other than the first one, because obviously the first one's a big one. It's the first game. Honestly, like one that people probably aren't expecting. I'm really excited to play Utah. We play Utah at home this year. And the reason I'm excited for that game is I actually made my first start against Utah 2 years ago. It was the year we went 3-9, really rough year. That was my first career start, was against Utah. I threw 2 interceptions. We lost the game, didn't play well. And so I'm really excited for that one, just because it's kind of going to be a full circle moment for me. And I'm
cool.
excited to kind of get my get back.
That's awesome. What do you want Baylor fans to understand about who Sawyer Robertson really is?
Man, honestly, like I care so much, not just about, the end result, whatever happens with my career or anything. I just care so much about like this season and winning, the group of guys we have in that locker room, the school, everything. And so, like I kind of was saying about that injury, I mean, I'm going to be out there and I'm going to give it my all. And I'm going to get hit, bleed, whatever, do everything I can to win games. And I'm going to do it until a doctor pulls me off that field or until somebody says I can't go out there anymore. And so I'm just going to give everything I got. I care so much about, all the guys in the locker room, and just how we do this season. And so I'm so excited. Obviously we put in all the work, how the summer conditioning and workouts, all the offseason stuff goes. And so it's actually finally time to play football. And so we're ready to roll.
Yeah. I talk a lot about sports business and NIL and things like that on this show. What's NIL like being the starting quarterback at Baylor? It's got to be decent, right?
I mean, absolutely. What's cool about it is like the opportunities that come with it. As far as like last year, I was able to do something with Yeti where I got every single guy on the team a cooler, and it's actually this tumbler right here. So I got to get everybody one of those. And then just doing other stuff throughout the community. So it just opens up a lot of doors to be able to kind of help other people out. And so that's what I think the coolest part of it is. And then obviously like it's changed the trajectory of my life just as far as like, because when I first got to college, NIL wasn't a thing. And so I've gotten to see like both sides of how it works. And so I'm super thankful for it. It's awesome, but it's cool because it allows you and it enables you to help other people.
Yeah. It's got to be crazy going from every college athlete was broke and now you got the NIL checks, and as a starting quarterback, it's got to be good. When you have those NIL conversations, what are those like when you're, already at the school? I think that the interesting piece is a lot of times people talk about NIL as a recruiting tool to get kids to different schools, but for you it's really retention. It's like making sure that your starting quarterback's happy at his current school.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I think I was watching a Scotty Scheffler thing where he was talking about golf, and he was like, I mean, like the money's great, but like I played golf before like I got paid for it. It's football, right? Like I remember being a little kid, like it's like I was saying with all the sports, like I just like competing, like the money's fine. It's great. But like, like I'm out there cause I want to like win, I want to compete. I enjoy it. It's fun for me. Like I enjoy going out there and competing. And so, the money's just, I mean, it's a bonus for sure. But I mean, shoot, even if it wasn't there, like I'd still be at Baylor and I'd still be happy because I'm doing what I love with who I love.
Yeah. I love it. When football's over someday, so hopefully a long time from now, what do you want to be doing?
There's a couple things. I don't have like a set in stone plan. I've always loved sports. I did graduating from the business school in Baylor, from the S3 program, sports sponsorships and sales. So it's kind of like the business side of sports, a lot of the front office stuff. So I could do something in that. I think that would be really cool. But then like my like way out there plan is to do, I love fishing. So I'd love to open up some kind of like outdoor adventure, kind of like little store where I can just, where I can honestly just fish and golf a lot and kind of do that as a little side hustle, make a little extra money. So a lot of that depends on how my football career goes though.
Yeah. that could be a good second act after a 15-year NFL career. Just hanging out, just chilling. What's your goal for this season? Have you written one down?
I mean, I think as a quarterback, right, like your goals are aligned with the team's goals, right? Because I mean, you could be the best quarterback ever, and if your team doesn't win games, then it's like, how good were you? And then on the flip side, right, you might not be the most talented guy, but if you're finding ways to win games, then you're gonna be talked about as a really, really good quarterback. And so anybody who would say anything other than like winning a championship, whether it's the conference championship or the national championship, I'd question like how how competitive they are, how much they really care, all that stuff. And so obviously that's the end goal, man. Like you want to bring a championship.
Yeah.
You want to win as many games as you can for your school because, you know, you're only promised, you only have 4 years, right? And then like me going into my 5th year here, right? This is the last, nothing's guaranteed, you know, but this is the last like guaranteed, I guess you could say, time I'll get to play, you know, because you don't know what the future holds. And so just taking advantage of that and making the most of the opportunity while you still have it.
Yeah. If you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice when you were 18 years old, walking onto campus for the first time at Mississippi State, what would it be?
This is a great question. I love this question. I would probably tell myself to chill out a little bit, to be honest, as far as like I remember just pressing so hard and being so hard on myself after a bad practice or bad throw or anything. Like instead of having like the short-term memory, right, like next play mentality, it was just like after a bad practice, I would just be so upset at myself, wake up early the next morning, go throw some more. And there was a lot of things that just that went wrong with that. One, like mentally, it wasn't good for me because, you know, I'm dwelling on the past rather than looking ahead, looking at the improvement I made. And then two, like just developed bad habits as far as just like trying to do too much weird stuff, tinkering around too much, all that. And so I would just tell myself to chill out a little bit, trust the process. Like there's going to be ups and downs, kind of like a 3 steps forward, 1 step back thing. Like it's going to happen. Just trust it and don't overthink anything.
Yeah. Last question for you, man. What's your why? What's the reason you do what you do?
I kind of touched. Yeah, that's a good one. I kind of touched on it earlier. I'll definitely say my faith. You know, I believe. I think God has given me the ability, not just the ability, but also the opportunity to be able to play this game on this platform. And I'm just going to do it to the best of my abilities to glorify Him, because not everybody gets this opportunity. Not everybody has the abilities to do it. And there are probably a lot of people out there that do want that, you know, and so I'm not promised it forever. And so just using it while I have it to steward it to the best of my abilities, and just show like how thankful I am, how awesome it is. But at the same time, like none of the success that I've had or will have is because of me or my own, like my own doing, right? It's not about how hard I work or how good I am. Like it's none of that. Like I know without the things that God has given me, like I'd be nothing, you know? And so I'm just so thankful for what I get to do. I love it. And I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability.
I mean, you have great perspective and wisdom for you know, being in college. It's cool to hear and makes you easy to root for. I loved sitting down with you when we were in at the college football national championship.
Yeah,
weekend,
that was fun. You were great to talk to. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we could do this. I know I was hitting you up in the DM saying we should run it back and do it again, but I want to, you know, I think with all the excitement around you, I think it's cool for college football fans, for Baylor fans to hear your story and hear about what's important to you and give you a platform to talk about it. So I'm glad we could do this, man. I'm excited to see what you do this season. I'll be following, and we'll have to do a follow-up after the season and see how everything went.
Yeah, dude, I'm all in, man. Just hit me up whenever. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. It was a blast, dude. I appreciate you.
Next up.